Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? It is Sunday, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting ready for yet another weekend practice at St. Vincent College. But we are here with a Steelers Source podcast to talk all about not wide receivers, quarterbacks. And joining me, as always, Dave Schofield. What's up, Dave? How's it going?
Hey, it's going all right. Let's get some news. I like getting information that you're not just getting out there from the local reporters of what's going on. Let's hear about a little bit of what the Steelers are thinking about things.
Yeah, and I also realize, we say on our other podcasts that there might be people that just find us for the first time. There might be people that just tune in or they're tuning back in. Listen, the Steelers source that we have is from within the organization. And so you can go back and check the tape. We've been right almost every step along the way this past offseason, whether it was talking about Russell Wilson being signed, whether it was Justin Fields being traded for. We had it first, and we're doing it all. We've done it all offseason, and it would continue into training camp. And we want to talk about quarterbacks today, one in particular, Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the topic of discussion today. And let's go back. As Brian Davis would always say, let's top in the DeLorean, and let's just go back a few weeks. Think back to the very first training camp practices. This is post conditioning test, so Thursday. And everyone's looking forward to seeing Justin Fields. Justin Fields is with the ones because Russell Wilson can't do it. And so everyone's watching. And what was the overall narrative from the fans, not from the fans, well, I guess from the fans there, but also from the media that are watching? Boy, was he inconsistent. And someone as far as saying he was bad. And so a lot of fans started to sour on Justin Fields just like that, because that's how fast opinions can change in the National Football League, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were the ones that told you Steelers are happy with it. They're fine. They understand it's a process. They're tweaking his motion a little bit. They're not recreating the wheel, but they're trying to help him understand what he's expected to do here with the Steelers, not in Chicago anymore. Well, the story that the source told me happened on Friday. It happened on Friday Night Lights in Latrobe, and Justin Fields made a play that I guarantee you, anyone that was watching, no one was filming this. No reporter was on the sideline jotting something down in a notebook, but it was something that happened that the Steelers coaching staff was absolutely brimming with pride. Here's what happened. So Justin Fields gets the play from the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. They go to the line and he's reading the defense, and he immediately sees this play's not going to work. It's not going to work. I need to audible. So he audibles out of that call, and he goes into what most would consider probably a very mundane call. My guess is a handoff up the middle, and it gains 5 yards. And the coaching staff, they looked at each other and said, that's it. That's it. This kid is starting to figure it out. That play that would have run, if he didn't audible, probably would have been a -3 loss of yardage. And now he changes it and it goes to a 5-yard gain. 5-yard gain, everyone's going to be like, oh, what the hell's the difference? It's the fact that Justin Fields, from a mental perspective, is starting to pick things up. He's starting to learn. And from within the organization, they said that this is in Chicago. This is a play that he would have just run the play and they would have lost yardage, or he would have tried to have a hero play and running all around and trying to make a big play. Instead, he called the audible. They gained 5, didn't lose 3, and the Steelers are just really, really happy, to the point where they are now convinced that if he is called upon, I'll say that again, if he is called upon to lead the Steelers from week 1, they are A-okay with that. Make sure you hear me properly out there, listeners and viewers. I did not say that he is going to start week 1. I did not say that he is ahead of Russell Wilson in pole position, as Mike Tomlin would say it. I am saying that if he is needed, the Steelers are confident that he can do the job. So, Dave, I've talked a lot. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, and people are like, well, why not? He's been a starter in the NFL before. He was drafted 11th, 12th. I can't even remember what spot he was.
11th overall.
11th. Yes, because it was yes. That's an easy one to remember, isn't it, Jeff, as a Steelers fan? Yeah. So they're like, well, why wouldn't you think that he could do these things? Well, that was kind of the story with Justin Fields. Did we even know after a couple of years if Kenny Pickett could do these things? No, because of the situation he was in, because Matt Canada wouldn't let you do it. It all really depends on the situation that you're coming through and what you can do versus what they're doing and everything else. But to see him make this kind of progression that, oh, This is not what we want to do. This is what we're going to do. Hey, we don't, and you don't have to audible just because you see the home run play. I think that's something the Steelers offense kind of got into last year. We saw it in that first game against the Ravens. The only way they could get away with audibling is if they hit a long touchdown to win the game. So it's just, you can audible out of a play that's just not going to have success, maybe lose you some yards, into something that doesn't have to completely wreck the defense, but it's a good, safe call that can gain you some yards. It's identifying these things on your own and not having to be told, hey, this is what you should do, or this is what you should have done. So if that's something that he wasn't doing, that's what this kind of also speaks to as well with the Steelers, is that just goes to show you that is not where Justin Fields was, but they're happy to now see it.
I mean, think back to, you brought up last season, regardless of who was a quarterback. How many times did we say in post-game shows, Dave, oh my gosh, you can see the numbers. Like, you see them loading the box. Why are they not audibling out of the play? For whatever reason, they didn't audible out of the play. So that tells me that at least Arthur Smith is giving this guy, Justin Fields, enough leeway that at least in practice, he's giving him the opportunity to show that he can be trusted to do it. And he's doing it. And so that's a big thing, because I think a lot of people have always said, Justin Fields, he struggles with consistency. And there's always those people that'll say, brimming with physical ability, but maybe the mental game is not there. The Steelers are very, very happy. And I think anyone that follows training camp, this is not source material. Anyone with eyes that has social media or checks our trackers on steelcurtainnetwork.com knows that he's also performing better in practice. Not perfect, but he's improving a lot in terms of how he's handling himself with the starters. His connection with George Pickens seems to be off the charts right now, really delivering good footballs. You don't hear those reports about, man, Justin Fields looks really rough. He looks bad, inconsistent. It's more, wow, this is a third straight practice that Justin Fields has looked really, really good. Dave, it sounds to me like this guy's kind of putting it all together.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to ask you, Jeff, do you ever remember one side or the other winning 7 shots, 7-0?
No.
I mean, that's what they did Friday night. Now,
that's right.
The offense struggled a little bit, and Justin Fields had to scramble, and eventually they blow the play dead on Saturday. But it was they weren't pads on practice and everything. So, but it's sometimes you just have to look at these victories to say, hey, if he could see that and realize that was the right call to get out of that play, and to just to get into something else. That completely changes what you can do with your game plan. I'd love to know what KT Smith would have to say about that, just to know that you have a quarterback that sometimes it can, you can get the paralysis through analysis kind of deal, that he could just come up, see it, switch the play, run it. There you go.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times do you remember Tom Brady? And I know that's a lofty comparison,
but
still Tom Brady, when he would play the Steelers, he goes up to the line of scrimmage, he's checking out of it, and he'd run the ball. And they'd gain 5 yards. And he'd run it again, gain 5 yards. Guess what? They just got a first down, a new set of downs, and they're just moving. They're just grinding it. A smart quarterback is the one that has to do a lot of that stuff. And I think when you look at this from a totality perspective, we haven't seen Russell Wilson yet. And so it's easy to say, like, all this stuff about Justin Fields because, well, he's the guy right now. He's the one that's out there taking every snap in 7 shots. And he's the one doing the 2-minute drills and all this stuff. But I said this on my Friday Let's Ride podcast, and I'll reiterate it here. The goal, the Steelers, the way they view Justin Fields, and we've said this before on Source Podcast, is improvement. It is about improvement. It's not always about perfection. So if he throws an interception, okay, that happens. Quarterbacks throw interceptions. Like, was there ever a quarterback that went a whole season without throwing a pick that actually started most of the games? I don't think so.
Not that I know of.
I cited the years that Ben Roethlisberger said in training camp, I'm not going to throw any picks this year. Pretty sure he threw interceptions that season. So I get it. But what we're seeing from Justin Fields early, it was physical improvement. They made some tweaks with his motion, his footwork and all that stuff. And he took to it well. He's very coachable. Now we're seeing some of the mental processing being improved upon. I think this is exciting. I think that, I guess it's a good problem to have if you have 2 capable quarterbacks. That's kind of what I see happening here, Dave, don't you?
Yeah, and to me, I think this could even speak much more to 2025 than 2024.
Yeah.
That if he's moving along in that direction, then they could say, hey, let's keep you here. Let's keep this going. This is going to be good for you. This is going to be good for us. Let's get you there this year. And then eventually you could get back to being that guy, but with much better tools to get the job done.
It's going to be interesting. And we just wanted to jump on here to give you all this sourced information because I think it's unbelievably valuable. Like I said, on Friday night in Latrobe High School, that no one saw that play. No one saw that change at the line of scrimmage and said, oh my gosh, look at that. No, like that's not being circulated on social media, the videos. It was just a mundane play, but the Steelers view it totally different. So Dave, what are your final thoughts here?
Well, I think that's very important because if you could minimize that negative play and check into something to just give you, nice positive yardage, that's what it takes to sustain drives.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Tom Brady thing. That's what Tom Brady could do. He could go out and he could just move the ball on you, 10, 12 play drives all the way down the field. Were we seeing huge long drives all the time with the Steelers in the last several years? No. Because the coordinator basically had to guess right every time if you're not switching the plays at the line. Could you see that under Ben Roethlisberger? Sure, because he could take and he would adjust the play, do what he needed to do in order to get the job done to continue to move the ball. And that's really what you need to do. I mean, especially with the Steelers team. If you could make those kind of moves, and there's going to be people that hear this like, oh, well, shouldn't a quarterback be able to do that? I agree, yes, but we also do, and have been hearing the rumblings about those kind of things with Justin Fields. So, but if he offers you that, and that's the same kind of thing that hopefully you could get with Russell Wilson, then you can get extended drives, giving your defense rest. And my goodness, what can the Pittsburgh Steelers do in that kind of scenario? And hopefully that would be some really good things.
Yeah, and like I said at this top of the podcast, at the time when everyone else was bad mouthing this kid, because he is still a young man, I think he's only 26 years old. When everyone was bad mouthing Justin Fields, saying how horrible he was to start camp, we were the ones that said, "Listen, be patient. Patience is paying off." The changes that the Steelers now view him as a capable player. If they need to call upon him, not saying they will, but if they do, they think they can win games with him. And I think that's really, really important as the team prepares for their first preseason game coming up this Friday. I want to remind everyone to check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Again, that's SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Dave's trackers are there, our commentary. You'll probably see something about this in the written form on Sunday with my letter from the editor. So check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com, and wherever you get your podcast, make sure you check us out there. Check us out on YouTube too. Search Steel Curtain Network on YouTube.com, and you'll find us. Subscribe, like the videos. We do appreciate it. But Dave, as always, man, thank you for joining me on this Source podcast. We'll see you next time. Take it easy, everyone.